Alright, I think I'm all set. Alrighty. Hey there, Jars! Jars! First up in Horks, now Jars. Yeah. Evening there, good to see ya. Ugh. There we go. Where exactly is that transition point? Not there. It's over there. Huh. Wonder if it has anything to do with why these guys appear here now. There we go. There we go. Who are stinkier, jars or silvers? Easily silvers. I like jars. Jar bros are great. Kalen, my beloved, oh boy. If people are buried in roots of the Erd Tree, why are those graveyard areas in Overworld where you can get lots of souls? For variety's sake, we see different. It's not just catacombs, right? So the idea is that you bury the people where the roots are. So if the roots are close to the surface, then you don't have to bury them that far deep. But if they're buried, you know, deeper underground, right? Then that's probably because that's where the only place the roots are, right? So it's kind of like, you know, the roots determine what type of burial in the area to some extent. Now, granted, another factor is, of course, for gameplay variety, right? Sometimes we'll have a cliffside cemetery that allows us to scale down an area because it's useful for traversal. Sometimes we're going to see a regular standard graveyard that we have to weave our way through the different tombstones. Sometimes we're going to see just a coffin cemetery where, yeah, it's just going to be like a string of coffins right next to a building. You walk up, there's a bunch of runes there, right? Like, there's a lot of like balancing decisions that obviously play into it, which is why I don't try to focus too much on the type of burial. I did try to look into for coffin cemeteries because it looks like at least at one point the idea was to associate them with Liurnia specifically, but that hasn't really panned out. They're used just far too frequently, far too generically to be associated with one different with one place, one culture, or one type of person being buried there, right? Like, for example, we have a coffin cemetery at the Waypoint ruins, and there's really no explanation for it on why the Waypoint ruins would have something that has a bunch of witch statues, small witch statues, easy to miss witch statues, but witch statues nonetheless in the sides, engraved into the sides of the coffin. So again, I think it's just a case of maybe they had an idea at some point in development, but they ended up just using the model for something else. Naruhodo, yeah. Howdy, Xavier. Always good to have you here. So a thought that entered my head looking at this again and seeing it in relation to this, I'm wondering if the idea is these guys can, or at least, again, not necessarily every time, but if a lot of cases, they just appear in places where there's a lot of destructible rock. So was clearly supposed to be a road that traveled here at one point. But clearly, that's changed. So I wonder if the idea was, because all the rock and stuff would have collapsed and fallen down here, these guys all came in to gather up rocks that were inside. That would be my idea. So why do you think these abnormal stone clusters will show up prominently at the Stone Coffin Fissure? I think that would go exactly what I'm saying, right? There's a lot of destroyed, you know, potentially destructible rock stuff. It's a fissure, you know, something which has, you know, been rent open, and therefore you have a lot of these guys trying to get into that cracked open rock. I think that might be the idea. And that might be why we see them having, like, this sort of, like, alert thing, like they're on some sort of monitor. Now, I don't know why some of them explode. That still isn't clear to me. Why would it be gravity magic even at Stone Coffin Fissure? I think the gravity magic is just what they themselves have. I think it's just part of what they are. I mean, something is keeping these balls together, right? And gravity's really the obvious explanation. So I don't think in any context where we find these guys, they aren't coming from some civilization which had some mastery of gravity magic. Either way, the Jars were not paying their tax and let the road follow the ruin. Jar genocide justified. The great Jar was not doing his job. Oh, right, I want to do this. I had this beautiful shot, it was ruined by you. Spiked Palisade Shield. Oh, I gotta include that now. I gotta include that now as well. Also, goodness me, that is a whole heckin' a lot of... that's a whole heckin' a lot of dragon scale spike thingies, huh? Do you think they're gravity magic life forms like the Alabaster and Onyx Lord rather than invented in Celia? I would say they're invented in Celia. Again, I would, my assumption, my first impression was that they were some creation of an ancient civilization, probably related to the Everjails. Now, does that mean that they were created to, like, fuel the Everjails, and then being found in other areas is because they're gathering power from those areas to then go back to supply the Everjails? Maybe? It could be other stuff, though. It could be they're trying to sap power from the Everjails. Again, so kind of like what I was saying, is like they consider it like an open rock thing that they can try to harvest from. I don't know. I'd have to think that one over. Oh, there I am. I'm like, where the hell is my character? I also don't like how that Colosseum isn't showing up. There we go. Alright, let's see. Damn. A little bit of an awkward position I put myself in. No, it doesn't matter. It's based on my camera. Oh, it's based on where I'm looking, too. You're really making this job hard for me, buddy. Alright, let's see if I can angle the camera from here. Okay, yeah, I can hide myself. Yeah, okay. There we go. Look, you see my message about the ginormous ringed finger creeper I found in the hinterlands? No. I did not see it. I like how the Colosseum popped up. Yeah, it just kind of went from, you know, solid black to like, oh, I'm here. It's amazing how that works. Now, better. Alright, so some options there. I'll also try to get the him not looking like the other guy is not active. I think I might like that one best. There's a small cave where you can find a huge finger creeper, like at the mountaintops of the giant, but it has the magic rings. That makes the fact that the rings aren't appearing in the mountaintops even more significant then. Yeah, so I think the idea is that when they want to, that for at least for the DLC, they kept the ring model thing, because whether or not the ring model is associated with the snakes, I think they want to highlight the gravity magic as the association with Metter. Does Metter summon any of the giant fingers with the rings during her boss fight? Loki, as a heads up for the Great Jar Warriors, you might want to give them an extra closer look. The source that described their gear seems to make a mistake when describing the similar Fia Sims. This is for Adolphus's source, because Adolphus just kind of threw me something, but I can definitely make sure to take a extra close look. But right now the focus is the screenshots, right? So I can do that after the stream. Yeah, nothing else I really want here. Okay. Only the small ones? That makes sense then, because they want to avoid using the ring ones, because it makes no sense for Metter to just spawn ones with the fully formed rings. Yeah, I'm thinking... Okay, so my thoughts are currently... I think the finger creepers in the DLC might all be products of Metter, but I think the ones in the base game are probably still artificial that don't directly come from her. I think most of them are sourced from the Blasphemous Serpent. I think they're Marika's attempts to similarly try to, you know, trying to reverse engineer Metter's finger birthing process, right? And she manages to create finger creepers. And then she does the same thing with the mountaintops using fingers from the giants. And that's why they use the ringless, non-gravity using ones up there, so that way they can avoid, they can, you know, make that more clear how the source is different. Right? But then when the DLC came around, they were like, you know what, maybe we could also, like, take off all the fingers, but then we have to change all the models and the attacks, so it still does all the gravity stuff and all that, you know, and then the animation would have to change, right, because the animations come from the rings, technically, so it would look weird if they do it when they're ringless and stuff, like, it's just gonna have magical, like, glowing stuff that starts floating out of nowhere and things, so we're just gonna, you know, keep the default model. I think that's what happened there. Oh, we can talk to it. Cool. Oh. Oh. Were there bones in the lead up? Were there actually bones in the lead up to this spot before? Obviously, there's the random spawning skull. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, actual bone piles. I don't think so. The lampreys in the same area as those sorcerers without any rings, though? Yeah, because they're new enemies that were made specifically for the DLC, Night Scout. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that the reason why that the finger creepers in the DLC still have the rings is because the developers didn't want to waste time and resources trying to make them so it would work without the rings and would still look good or normal. Okay, no, there are in fact bones. Okay. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't one of those cases where they literally, like, had it where there were no bones. Granted, it's specifically bones, like, in the immediate vicinity of this guy, so maybe they're still... I don't know, let's go a little farther back. I'm curious if finger creepers take extra damage from Radahn's greatsword. Yeah, that might be good data to know have. I don't know. I think someone would probably have to look into the files for that one. No, there's bones and stuff here. Okay, yeah, I think it's just random bone piles. I don't think it's significant. I'm not going to focus on this one, because I think it's like the rest of Caelid. What a shocker. There's lots of dead people in Caelid. Maybe I'm misremembering and there's less human bones in other areas than I thought, but for now... I wish you could fight this guy. You do! That's the point! You technically do. Strongest jar, yeah. Kind of weird. Caelid's such a friendly place after all. Yeah, I know. But you know, they had all those skull and bones models. They had to put them somewhere, and they're like, you know what? I guess it'll be Caelid. Maybe we could have put it in someplace more dangerous, deadly, and, you know, completely unbearable, like, I don't know, Weeping Peninsula. But, you know, Caelid needs some more details, so I guess we'll throw them there. Kind of sloppy From Software, you know? I do wonder if they originally wanted to do more with this big jar. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Because I feel like From Software always wants to do more with what they got, and then they always settle for less. I feel like that's just the curse of development for them. They have a lot of ideas, and they're like, okay, maybe the next game. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be okay. Alright, I think that's enough. You can now see Knights of the Great Jar's Red... Oh, the Great Jar doesn't have a dash here. They put a dash on the English wikis and stuff. I was like, I guess it's on the talisman, but... Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just call it the Great Jar and not use the dash. Screw that. Alright, who do we summon first? I guess we'll go down the line. Knight of the Great Jar. Nah. Nah. Uh-huh. I'll take a close-up of the, this. Now, what about your leggings? Gonna just look under your skirt, don't mind me. Yep, those are definitely Exile Greaves. Yep. Those are most definitely Exile Greaves. I'd recognize those anywhere. I know my BK equipment. There we go. Flustered anime girl sounds at the Pistons. Loki, you perv, baka. Swiss cheese. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, if you move the camera to the other side of the Coliseum, is there anything there? Is it just a wall? Yeah, like Night Scout says, the low res. It's the low res they had before the update for the Coliseums came out. You don't see all the red main stuff and things. Alright, so I think I also want to get the sorcerer, the sorceries this guy casts while we're at it. Let's just get a few more shots of, like, just standard him standing around in case I want them. Oh, God, that's awful. Yeah, no. Alright, I think I've exhausted it. Thankfully, they just stand around there without you having to do anything, so... Turn us over to... No, I want you to do... No, use the sorcery. The staff is the important part. The sword is worthless.